Howdy everyone, this is Mopot, this is the Diamond Society, and welcome back to episode number 22. We're here up in the Horse Sanctuary. This is what we worked on in last episode, and it looks kind of barren at the moment. We do have a little house up though, and I would like to get something up in this episode as well. It's time to put up the stables so that we can actually keep the good horses in a place that's easily accessible, so we don't have to run around looking for all the good horses. Really, this is the only one that I, really am fond of. It looks really weird right now. Doesn't look too great. I am actually lagging a little bit. Let me get out of this here, and then hit tab. Yeah, my connection's really poor. There was a pretty bad windstorm today, and my internet connection has been pretty screwy ever since, so hopefully that gets resolved pretty soon. But in between episodes, I did say that I would continue this path over up to these gates here, and I did that. Just had to go out and get a little bit more gravel for the coarse dirt. So that comes out here, and then I used a little bit more of it outside as well. We jump out here. Is this guy actually a jumper? No, this is the one that actually doesn't get his feet off the ground, but he is my fastest horse. Let's go out here because, he doesn't fit through there. We're just going to do this on foot. It looks less laggy as well. Let's go out here. And let's close that guy back in here. So we made a slight modification to the bridge. Just kind of quick did it up. I'd still like to make some further changes to it. Not sure I like that area right there. That's a lot of gray. That's a lot of stone brick. However, this top half I am now a little bit more pleased with. In the last episode, it was just kind of this flat wall going all the way around. We didn't have any lights or anything. I don't know when that guy got there. But now I've just put some stone half slabs in, raised up the fence where it was, and then put a torch on top of it so it's all lit now. Nothing can spawn in here. And I think it adds a little bit better to the build than just what it was before. It adds a little bit more gray, although it's a different shade of gray, which I think works pretty nicely. I don't know, I'm just overall pretty fond of this, and then I added a few decorative stone blocks as well. I don't know, those are the chiseled, I think, and then used a few of them here as well. These two areas definitely need to change. That is not very good, and I definitely need to do something about that. This area also needs to change as well, where we have the two minecarts coming on down, but that'll be in just a little bit. I do kind of have a plan for this, although it's going to be kind of winged in a little bit, because down here's what I want to do first. I'm going to have like a pond or something down here, and then kind of close it off like right here, just so that when you're walking over it, you don't actually have to look at all this garbage right here, because it doesn't look very good right now, and that's not what we want to be having. So let's jump up here, and then come down here, because I did do one other very small tweak. Not a huge thing. I did mention it in last episode. And then I was going to bring the path over and connect it up here so that we actually kind of have like a formal way of getting the horses over into this area. I did just rebuild all the land around here and kind of brought it up to a better height so that we didn't have to be like dropping the path and then kind of raising it up at a different point. So we need to bone meal this up, and then it'll look a little bit better. All the grass did finally grow. It took a little bit, but that links up right here. I might actually kind of change it, make it kind of like fork. That might look a little bit better instead of just kind of coming at a straight angle and then going off in a diagonal. But that would probably help a little bit. So I might do that as well. And then we also need to get working on that. I am going to try this a little bit differently. Generally, I would just do a jump cut. I try to avoid time lapses because personally, I don't watch them a whole lot. And I just kind of skip through to see the end product. However, I do want to mention something really quickly. So I'm going to do it in a time lapse for once. And it's probably not going to be very long. But here it is. Alright, so what I want to mention is that the Diamond Society is actually starting up a modded server, and that might spark the interest of a few of you, although it might also be a letdown when you find out that I won't actually be playing on said server, and that's because I don't actually really like modded. I much prefer vanilla, and if I were to play modded, I wouldn't actually be using most of the mods, and I would just pretty much be playing vanilla again, so I might as well just be playing on the regular vanilla Diamond Society server. So I won't be joining that, unfortunately, at the moment. I might sometime down the road, but for right now, I have no plans to do so. Alright, the pond is done, as you saw, and of course, we couldn't just leave it be as it was. We had to do up plenty things other around it, and one of them being actually the bridge. And now I've gone through and I've redid each one of these poles, the kind of support beams here. They're a lot thicker now. I think they look a lot better than those little puny things, and they also don't have those little triangular bits coming off of it. I think it looks a whole lot better now, and also, adding to it is now these half slabs have been moved down a block, and then that little gap has been filled up with the fences right there. So that kind of adds in the wood feature to the side of it where we have it on the top, but we didn't have anything on the side. It was just looking really gray, and this really does help. It also adds a bit of detail, which I think is really nice. But then, other than that, looking around, there's a lot of trees, and I don't know about this. I hope it works because it's going to be a pain to take it down if I have to. But let's look at this and kind of see the purpose of it. And that is to kind of separate what is my base from what isn't my base. And over here before, it was pretty ugly. We just had a whole bunch of pretty much just grass and a little bit of like the longer grass and a few flowers and such. One or two trees dotted about, and then it just kind of had like a poor blend into that other biome back there that we won't actually be using. So instead, there's a forest now, and it's still kind of growing. There's still a few saplings around that haven't grown up like that one. But the whole point was to kind of have like a canopy, and I think it did create a good barrier. I don't know if it's too thick. There's also the occasional really large tree, which doesn't really bother me. However, we got this huge clump of them right here, so maybe do something about that. But overall, I guess I'm pretty pleased with it, and eventually that might carry out that way. It depends on how much of that land we actually use. I didn't want to go too far because I don't know how much we actually will be using, where we'll be building and not where we won't be building. So that was just kind of where I stopped it for now. So it probably will go further at some point. I can't imagine we'll put anything back there, but I totally probably could find something. The other big thing that we've done is now making the transportation for the villagers a little bit prettier. And this kind of sections it off a little bit better from, you know, the kind of like the natural looking stuff. Because before, we just had like a dirt thing going over it. There was holes everywhere, torches. This works so much more. And then we've also got this kind of ledge back there that's just kind of natural. That kind of happened on accident, and I was actually pretty pleased with it. I think I'm just going to leave it like that. I might bone meal it as well. I think I actually forgot to do that. I was planning on doing that and then forgot and then saw it and was like, oh, maybe it's not too bad like this. So it's pretty simple how we've done it. Just got the half slabs going with the fences. Same thing that we used right there. I wanted to keep it pretty close. I did actually have to lower this from where it originally was because it was just way too close to that. And it almost looked like it was kind of like part of it, which was definitely not what I wanted. Although then coming down, we've got the acacia logs here. Behind that, we've got one block reseeded. We've got the oak wood. And then on this side, it's pretty much the same thing, although flattened. We couldn't reseed that too far because we've got the grass right behind it. And that would have been interfering with that. We're already right up against these three things here, which is definitely not something we want. And we are using torches in here, although we could probably find something better. Anyway, going in here, then this was just stone before. Now we've just copied over what we have going on here. That goes all the way through. Wasn't a whole lot to really do because it really isn't that far, but it is better. It was stone before, which is definitely not something we want to be having. Essentially the same thing then going on here, and this is also where the villagers go. This is more right underneath my base. You can see right there is where the nether portal is. Right on top of that, that's kind of where it just kind of slopes down and kind of sections off the two tunnels here. But this is just the half slabs with the redstone lamps. Very kind of an industrial look. We won't actually be down here, although I did not just want just solid stone going across. Very bland roof as well. Now let's see. Can we do this? Jump. We made it. Okay, so on this side, wall is the same going back here. Ceiling's a little bit different though, so that I could match what's going on here. And then same kind of lights. We had some torches over here. I've changed that to jack-o'-lanterns in the ground. So trying to limit the use of torches just as much as I can. And then this goes right over here. And this goes right back here. So now pretty much every place that's accessible is actually decorated, which is pretty nice. I really like that. That's definitely something that I want to keep going. But now we do want to start working on the stables. And coming up here, I'm thinking of putting it right here-ish. We probably have to terraform a little bit. I do have a plan for it. I can't remember just how big it is. It wasn't huge, but I don't think it was quite this small. I'm pretty sure it's bigger than that house there. But we want it close to where we come out from the nether portal so that we can just come out, grab the horse, and ride it wherever, right? Because we want to be able to access everywhere up here with a horse. We don't want to be running all the way over to the other end, grabbing a horse and coming all the way back. That would defeat the purpose of really having the horses because I'm just going to be on foot anyway. We also don't really want it right over by the gate, which I had originally thought of because, again, we're going to have to run all the way over here just to grab the horse when we could have it over there and use the horse longer and then just run through here and go down here. We will be able to use them for down there still, although I just like to be able to use them as much as I can. A horse is never really something that I've used, and I'd really like to start using them. So I might have to change this as well because horses are too wide. They don't fit through one. And that would mean I have to open 4 gates at once. So I might figure out some redstone thing. But for now, I just want to focus on actually building the stable. And like I said, I think that's going to go right here. Might have to terraform this bit. I could even just put it back here. Stables are done. Just went ahead and did it in between clips because there's not a whole lot to it. It is pretty small. Although I tried making some larger ones in prototyping. And nothing was really turning out well, so just a small little bit. There wasn't a whole lot to actually do, although I am actually pretty pleased with it. In those prototypes, nothing really looked good at all. It was a lot of just garbage, big things, not a lot of detail, and I think this is kind of a happy medium. It is very simple, though. I am just, I don't know, overall kind of pleased with it. I think it fits in with the simple house also pretty well, and just the size of it is kind of perfect because it's not terribly much larger than this. It's only, I think, like a block or 2 wider. This one is 7 and this one is 10 wide. and then the distance over this way I think is the same. Yeah, it's the same that way, and then it's just offset a little bit. So it's not kind of so much linear as it kind of just goes up here, and then I filled up this area as well. So looking at just the stable though, on the inside then we've got just the very basic item frames, the torches, and then 6 different stables here. We have the 1 horse in here, and this is my running horse. I do notice that when you get off it though, you take damage from the ceiling, and I think kind of like half the time you end up on top of this wall here, which is kind of unfortunate that you don't end up outside, although we do have the center path, so that is very helpful. And then we've got the 4 different chests here, and I think it was this one that we now have the armor in, so it's out of there, so we don't have that weird chest sitting there now, and this is just completely carpeted over. That looks a lot better instead of having that little bit exposed from underneath the chest, and being over here is a little bit more convenient as well. I could put the saddles over here and get them off of some of the random horses, and I think I might actually do that and then start breeding up some horses and getting some, some better ones than just this one guy. Because I would like to have other options as well. Maybe get one that's kind of good at both jumping. And why is there a name tag? What's a name tag? Hello? I see a sword. I see a sword. Is that a god apple? No? Hi. How's it going? Chicken? Take my chicken. I don't know what's going on. He's got a cool cape, actually. Show me your cape. Show me your cape. Oh, no arrow. I don't want your arrow. That looks pretty cool. I like that. So, anyway. I'm going to watch my back because I don't want to die. But looking at this here, and then, like I said, we did up this area. Underneath each one of these carpets is a jack-o'-lantern to kind of keep the lighting. It's the same as we did with the bushes here, except now it's 1 block higher, which actually means that the lighting's a little bit better. I'm seeing more. Was that the one he missed from before? Hey, my horse! Well, he's not going to get very far because that thing doesn't jump. Oh, he made it. I didn't expect that. Come back. Okay, we'll deal with that later. So, now I kind of want 2 giant horse statues, and that seems kind of random. Although I think it would fit really perfectly. We can't really build anything back here. There's not a whole lot of room for it. So I've just got these 2 pedestals here. I've got one here. I've got one on the other side as well. And kind of just like a generic horse statue. There are very, very similar ones. In fact, I think I pretty much copied it block for block and then made some very slight tweaks to it in making it just a little bit thicker. But it'll be pretty cool because we can have like one facing in the middle, one on the other side as well. And that could look pretty awesome, because if we come down here, and these 2 things are pretty tall as well. Like, it'll come up to about right there. And then we'll have that on each side. We could have something in the middle as well, like I said, to get kind of like a thing for like the trifecta of beacons from that side. So we could put that like right there. You'll be able to see that. And then it'll just be kind of like this nice gradual thing that goes across. And then let's hop back up here. So, looking at this, okay, this is... I should really figure out the best way to ender pearl up here. So yeah, looking at this from the top, we've got a lot of area to work with, and adding these 2 things will kind of help fill in some of that area, which will be pretty awesome. So now I want to head over to Muse's base, because that's actually kind of where I got the inspiration for this. Okay, we're at Muse's base, and this is one of my favorite builds on the server. Really, really love this Japanese dojo kind of look here. It's also really big, which of course adds to it. And it's got a good amount of detail, really. I can't go through the whole thing right now, because right now I just want to be looking at these 2 statues out front. This is the inspiration for what I'm doing with the horse statues. And I don't know what that horse is doing back there. That was just dancing. You saw it. But these 2 lions here are pretty awesome. We got the left foot out here, and then the right foot out here. Well, I guess this would actually be the left foot, not the right foot. But either way, really cool. You can definitely tell what it is. And just, they look really awesome. They're also sitting up on kind of like a pedestal kind of thing. Of course, I've got that gray stone thing, and that'll be kind of like my pedestal. And then we'll have, instead of the lion, we'll have a different animal, the horse. It is going to be much larger, of course, at my base, like I pointed out. Obviously, it would look very weird if we just had the large pedestal and a giant open area, but only a small statue. Wouldn't also be able to see it from the ground, so the largeness of it really will help. But I'm going to go ahead over and start doing both of those statues now. And here we have the 2 finalized horse statues. These were such a pain. Even though I was copying off of some pre-made pixel art, this really was a pain because of how intricate this really is. Trying to get everything just right and then doing it again, except backwards, or kind of flipped, really was a challenge. It took me quite a while, although I'm really pleased with this. Like, this looks like a horse which is pretty awesome for the horse sanctuary. Obviously, it's really fitting. Now, I was going to make this too wide, although I ended up deciding not to do that because of the lights right here. And then, yeah, I put the flower pots on top of them. So that just wouldn't have worked really well, having those just kind of laying over this. So it's kind of off-center. I did make these wider as well. These were 2 wide before, and now they're 4 wide. They look a lot better like this. They can also be lit up a little bit better. And I should probably now change some of the lights around here. That one's probably not needed. That one could shift a little bit. Because right now, it just kind of looks weird having them all lined up right against that. Kind of looks like that on the back, too, with that one. And that one, I would assume there's one on this side. Kind of right there on the corner. But it's the same deal over there, so those definitely need to change to make it look a little bit more natural. But this statue is no different from this one. It's just flipped over kind of like a middle line. And then we might even do something in the middle. We could do another horse, potentially, maybe facing out. That might look pretty cool. I'm not going to do that in today's episode because this has already taken me quite the time to do. But yeah, this is pretty awesome. Let's actually get a view of it from the bottom, because I was pretty accurate on how high I thought these were actually going to go. And if we walk over here, where did I go? No, we are lagging just a little bit. Not quite sure why. I haven't been lagging all day, and then now I am. But yeah, that one's actually not horribly visible, which is a little unfortunate because it's hidden by that tree. That'll probably come out at some point. We'll probably end up building something over there. But that one's definitely visible. Really, really glad with that. And yeah, it goes right up to right about there, which is where I thought it would. It just looks awesome. I really do like this. Awesome, awesome. I'll leave a link down below to the picture that I was basing it on. I don't know how old that thing is. It's probably been around for years. But I finally actually found a use for it. I had seen it before, and then I had seen it pop up in some other videos, and I'm really, really glad that I can use it because it is a pretty awesome design. So props to whoever designed that in the first place. Pixel art is not my thing. I would not be able to do that alone. I'd probably end up just trying to copy the horses that are actually in the game, and still, it would probably look pretty poor. But anyway, hope y'all enjoyed. Go and subscribe for more, and I'll see y'all next time.